Thank you all for being here. I'm Ann Connolly. I'm Director of Product at Digital Commons. Welcome to New and Notable, the latest developments in the Digital Commons suite. I'm going to keep it pretty informal. So if anybody has questions as we go through things, just feel free to raise your hands. And what I actually wanted to start with was some interesting bits and pieces, just kind of what the community's been up to. I'm not sure how many of you all are aware that we just had our very first North America Digital Commons Conference, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And so we are working on editing the recordings right now, and those will be up, maybe in a couple weeks.
Another week or two.
Yeah, probably another week or two. So we'll be sending out a link to the recordings for anybody who missed the conference. There were some really nice presentations. What I wanted to start with too is at the conference, we did our 2023 IR All-Stars. And the reason that I mention them is just because it's really fun to celebrate those folks. And also they're just sort of really representative of the community in general. We have a very, very thoughtful, helpful, collaborative community. And so this IR All-Star Award is really sort of recognizing that. And there's always so many people to choose from. But again, still not loading. I had pictures of them up here, but I'll just go ahead and tell you their names. We had Ellen Amatangelo from Brigham Young University, Carrie Baker from Nova Southeastern, Ashley Sergiatis from East Tennessee State, and then we also had Wendy Walker from the University of Montana. So congratulations to them. And they got bobbleheads, and I had pictures of those, but those also are not loading. So, but the other thing that we did this year is we actually did our very first Lifetime Achievement Award, Institutional Repository Lifetime Achievement Award, which went to Paul Royster, University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Some of you folks may know Paul. I think Paul's actually retiring in December. But we wanted to recognize him for all the work that he's done for the community, for not only digital commons, but institutional repositories. And again, I not only want to celebrate these folks, but also just kind of to give you guys an idea of like what a wonderful community we have. They really represent the collaboration that we see every day. And because of that collaboration, not only with each other, but also with us, we take a lot from our community to try to develop the product in directions that help the community do the things that they need to be able to do. So that collaboration is something that we really value with the community and among the community. So what I'll do until my slides load, which they may not, is we basically have 4 different products in the Digital Commons suite, which you might be familiar with. There is Digital Commons Institutional Repository. We have Digital Commons Data. We have Digital Commons Exhibits. And then we also have Digital Commons Journals. And so a few of the things that are new with each of those things, I'm going to try to remember as many as I can, but this presentation will also be available, I believe, after the conference. So if you want to see the full list, you'll be able to see that there. So with Digital Commons Institutional Repository, Yoga, I might actually ask you a few questions here and there, but I'll try to remember as many as I can.
Do you want to open up your laptop? So
yeah, actually, that's a good idea. So yeah, because I have a Mac, I mistakenly left my adapter not here. So with the Digital Commons repository, we've had some really exciting things over the past year or so. I think a couple of the biggest ones have been the fact that we can now do HD streaming. A lot of folks were asking for that. So now with the native streaming, when you are adding video and audio content, well, in this case, video content, it will stream in HD, which is really exciting. The other thing that we've heard a lot about that people have been using quite a bit that we released this past year is the batch upload file manager. We heard from the community that there was a lot of frustration with our batch import functionality because you have to have the files up on a publicly available server in order to pull them in. With this, you can now just pull them in from your desktop. So you don't have to put them elsewhere. You can just have all your files. So when you are, doing all of your digitization of whatever files you have, you can just pull them from your desktop. You don't have to put them anywhere else. One of the things that we actually just released, and I know we're very excited about this, Yoga, excellent work on this one. We are now OpenAir4 compliant. One of the things that a lot of people, again, have been asking for is interoperability, right? So making sure that content can move to and from digital commons and, between a variety of different places, locations, whatever. So OpenAir4 is something that has helped us kind of move a little bit further in that direction. In addition, there have been some accessibility enhancements, some security enhancements. So just kind of keeping up with all the changes that are going on out there, the sort of maintenance stuff that we keep track of to make sure that you all don't have to worry about it. The customer sandbox. So we now have, instead of the old demo sites that maybe many of you have, we have new sandbox sites for you to play with. So if you are a customer and you have not yet gotten your new sandbox site set up, just reach out to your consultant or let me know afterwards, and we can make sure that gets set up for you. And then let me see. Whoops. We'll just let that keep doing whatever it's doing. And then the new content reporting tool, we basically sort of redid our content inventory because we're at a point where a lot of your repositories are getting so huge that trying to get those reports out with all of your metadata and everything like that, we're starting to hang, right? So we redid that content inventory. And again, along the lines of being able to get stuff into digital commons, get things out of digital commons, another kind of way that we've been focusing on that. Currently under exploration, so coming up, what we're exploring, what we're working on with Digital Commons Repository, we are looking at how we can have basically like an automated integration with Pure. So any folks who are using both Pure and Digital Commons, again, I know Yoga's been working really hard with our tech team to figure out the needs around that so that content can move more smoothly, more easily, and in a more automated way between Pure and Digital Commons. And then the other thing that's currently in exploration is SAML and Shibboleth. So that is, we're looking at maybe early to mid, probably more mid next year, because the DC Pure connector is a pretty big lift, but I think that's coming along really well. Any questions about DCIR before I move on to the next one? All righty. So up next is Digital Commons data. So Digital Commons data is our data repository. So those of you that are trying to figure out how to manage all that data that now needs to be managed with all of these, the sort of national, the funder requirements and things like that. Digital Commons data is designed to help you all work with a lot of those funder requirements to make sure that that's in compliance. And so with Digital Commons data, one of the things actually that makes it really valuable is the fact that you can do collaborations within Digital Commons data. You can have like guest contributors and work on data sets together. So that's always really nice. So what they are currently building right now is institutional affiliation metadata, so that when you are adding the metadata for contributors, it is going to be assigning, it's going to have unique identifiers for the institutions. So I know everybody has lots of fun with all the various manifestations of institutional names. This hopefully will help a little bit with that. And then also they are adding a search facet to search by funder, right? Because a lot of folks need to get in there and figure out which data sets have been generated by, funding from which agencies and things like that. Under exploration, so they're going to be adopting make data count principles, and how to track and share data set metrics. And then they're also looking into the possibility of a dashboard for DC data. So those of you that are already using Digital Commons, you're probably familiar with the Digital Commons dashboards. We're looking into whether we might be able to provide something like that for those folks that also have DC data. I'll just keep moving. Digital Commons exhibits. So Digital Commons exhibits, we just released, I think it's been a couple of years now. So we've been rolling right along with that with Digital Commons exhibits. It is basically another sort of part of the Digital Commons suite where you can take your content from Digital Commons, curate it, highlight it, build narratives around it, basically build digital exhibits with it. And so it's got a really simple way of importing content and metadata from Digital Commons. It's just dropping in a URL and clicking a button. And then you can, again, go in and add, audio, video, additional images, text, all kinds of different things to build the exhibits. The thing that we've been working on this year with Digital Commons exhibits are the scrolling exhibits. And I'm really sad to not be able to show you those because they're super fun. But, usually in a lot of cases, what you see with repositories and exhibits and things like that is sort of this paginated experience where you go from page to page to page with the different items. So the scrolling exhibits is more like a single page scrolling experience, closer to what you see on, like New York Times website or things like that. So you can have like full width images with text across it, or, one column, two column, fun transitions, different things like that. So it's just another way to really build a story from your content. All right. And then last, but certainly not least, is Digital Commons journals. And so this is, so if you have Digital Commons, you know that you also have access to publish your own journals. There's those professional grade peer review tools that sit underneath the entire repository. So we have a lot of folks, I think we have maybe almost 2,700 journals now that are publishing using Digital Commons. So that's been really exciting to see, all these sort of library-based publishing programs that have come up over the years. For folks who are interested in sort of like taking those journals and sort of professionalizing them further, who are interested in getting indexed in various indices and different things like that, the DCJ, the Digital Commons Journals, is something that can help provide that. So one of the things that they've just released for these more these sort of more professionalized journals further down the line is this Find Reviewers using Scopus. So you can now have an expanded reviewer network for that. And then the other really fun thing is the next gen journals that are coming up. So we've been working on a brand new, lovely, exciting, more modern looking new journals interface. And so some of you may have already seen the alpha version of that. I believe beta is coming out in the next few weeks, fingers crossed. So keep an eye out for that. The other thing I want to mention about journals too is that anybody who has journals on Digital Commons, whether they're part of this sort of extra services program or not, if it is a currently publishing journal, you can also get DOIs for those journals. So if you have journals that sort of meet the criteria, then let your consultant know if you would like us to assign DOIs for those journal articles. And that is about all I have, and my most sincerest apologies for the lack of slide deck. But again, it'll be available, I believe, after the fact if anybody wants to see anything. Does anybody have any quick questions? Yes.
I had a quick question. You were talking about unique IDs for institutions. What are you using them for?
That is actually an excellent question. So unfortunately the product manager for Digital Commons Data is in London, so he was unable to attend. But I don't know, Saad, do you know what they're using for that? The institutional identifiers?
Not sure.
Not sure. Okay. But if you want to, do you know Yoga?
Not that part, but for the data sets, the DOIs, I know we use data
Site, yeah.
but for institution things and not.
Yeah. But if you want to give me your contact information, I can connect you with Luca. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, just let me know.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
The DOIs for journal articles, is that something that's not an extra we have to pay for, is it? The journal has to have an ISSN and then you can assign a DOI.
Yeah, I believe it has to have an ISSN and be currently publishing. And then just let your consultant know and they can set it up to start receiving DOIs. Other questions? All righty, I believe that is all we've got for today. Thank you all so much for attending. And if anybody wants to talk further, has any questions, we'll be at the booth all day and we'll be wandering around for the rest of the conference. So thank you so much.